Salutations! Good to be back on the air! In the last video, I went over the very basics of Alistair's character and who he is during Season 1. To our cast of characters, he's the host of the hotel, and to the rest of Hell, he's a dangerous, powerful overlord, but what exactly does that mean? In this video, we're going to go more in depth into his relationships with other characters, and specifically, the way he navigates them. Alistair is a very powerful demon who often exerts himself over other characters, even characters who are substantially more powerful than him in a hard power sense. For our purposes, I'm going to keep this simple and refer to hard power as things like physical strength and magic, and soft power as things like charisma, influence, rapport, goading, and leveraging of personal and professional relationships. Alistair generally reserves hard power for characters who are under his control or otherwise weaker than him. As an overlord in Hell, that's most people. One way he wields his hard power is to forcibly compel people. For example, Angel Dust asks,
"If Freaky Face over there is so powerful, then why can't he just make people stay here?"
And Alistair replies,
"Oh, trust me, I can."
Which Husk confirms,
"Why do you think I'm here? You actually think I'd be cleaning bottles and listening to you fucks bitch and moan all the time if he wasn't forcing me?"
Another way he manifests his hard power is strength, both physical and magical. When it comes to fights, Alistair is casual about any danger that presents itself. For example, when Serpentius attacks the hotel in episode 2, Alistair pretends he doesn't even remember who he is.
Face my wrath!
Who are you?
Even though they did battle like 20 times.
We've done battle like 20 times?
Including just last week.
I attacked you literally last week.
When Mimsy shows up in episode 5, Husk is nervous that she's bringing trouble to the hotel.
You and I both know Mimsy only shows up when she needs something. That bitch is trouble. And who knows what kind of demon she fucked with to come running to you this time.
But Alistair says,
"It's nothing I can't handle. Don't worry, Husker."
When the loan sharks attack the hotel, he overpowers them in a matter of seconds.
A reminder to all, not to mess with the radio demon. I will devour each and every one of you.
There's one notable exception to this rule that Alistair only uses hard power against those weaker than him, and it's when he fights Adam, as in the first man Adam, who's become a very powerful exorcist angel.
Adam, first man, next to die.
Who the fuck are you?
Alistair, pleasure to be meeting you. Quite a pleasure. I'm about to end your fucking life.
It's unclear whether Alistair actually thinks he can overpower Adam.
You think you're tough shit, huh?
I'm tougher than you. You lack discipline, control, and worst, you're sloppy.
Or whether he steps up because he knows he's the most powerful defender of the hotel and the only one who stands a chance, but more on that in video 4. Alistair exerts soft power much more often than hard power, both in the broad sense of using mass communication and in the narrow sense of interpersonal communication. His medium of choice is radio, but the first mass communication he uses in episode 1 is video in the filming of the commercial for the Hazbin Hotel. His first advertisement is so hilariously down on the mission of the hotel that Vaggie chides him,
"Nobody's gonna want to come to a place that a powerful overlord like you thinks is a waste of time."
Because of who he is and his influence, his endorsement could really help or really hurt their image, and the audience gets a sense right away of how much sway he has just by sharing his opinion. In the next episode, Alistair exerts his soft power in a media-based fight with Vox as a way to announce his return to Hell and to sway Vox's audience against him. Since Alistair's absence, Vox has built his media empire. He sings,
"While he hid in radio, we pivoted to video. Now his medium is getting bloody rare."
He's counting on his audience being loyal to his platform and taking his word as gospel, or at least on Alistair having a smaller audience and therefore less soft power over Hell's residents. However, as soon as Alistair begins his broadcast,
Salutations! Good to be back on the air.
he draws Vox's audience over to him and begins to dismantle the image Vox has built. As he does, Vox is put on his back foot. He begins to panic, tries to physically block the sound waves, and starts making ad hominem attacks like,
You're looking at the future. He's the shit that comes before that.
and
You old-timey prick.
directly telling his audience not to listen to Alistair makes it clear that he's lost control of the situation.
Our brand is perfection.
So what does trying and failing to publicly air your grievances with your arch rival do for your image?
Fuck it up?
Vox ends up getting so mad that he loses his signal entirely.
I'm afraid you've lost your signal.
And in the end, Alistair is the only one with a platform and a message anyone will hear. The third example of how he uses mass communications comes in Mimsy's story of his rise in hell. I already mentioned his trajectory as an overlord, but there's an important role mass communication plays in it. She explains that when other overlords started going missing, new voices started appearing on the radio, screaming in the broadcast.
Every time an overlord went missing, there'd be a new voice screaming in the broadcast.
Once the mystery and the fear began to spread, Alistair revealed himself as the radio demon.
That's when Alistair revealed himself as the radio demon.
After that, if anyone messed with him, he'd make an example of them by turning them into a broadcast for everyone else to hear.
And anyone that would mess with him, well, let's just say his broadcast never lacked new voices.
This use of mass media is incredibly effective in gaining control over a population because it harnesses their fear and gets into their minds. Nobody knows what he does exactly, not even the viewer. Does he kill them? Trap their souls? Whatever it is really scary. Don't mess with the radio demon. He's powerful and he'll do something bad to you. This level of control over his audience that he achieves through media, rhetoric, and reputation is the soft power of mass communication. Alistair's use of soft power in his interpersonal communications is even more subtle. At times, his soft power is as simple as maintaining friendships. Surprised? Don't be. Alistair is an extremely charismatic guy. Of course he would have friends. Actually, he has more friends than anyone else in the series. First, Mimsy is introduced in episode 5, whom Alistair greets like this.
Mimsy!
Alistair, sweetie, dollface, so good to see you. How you been? Good? Good.
They were friends from back before they died, which I assume is like the demon equivalent of saying we went to high school together.
So you two know each other? Oh yeah, we go way back. Ran in the same circles when we were alive.
Their relationship is built off of hanging out at the club, drinking and dancing.
You know, this one used to frequent the club where I used to perform. He's the only one I knew who could pound whiskey like a sailor, then keep up with me on the dance floor.
And now that he's a powerful overlord, he takes care of her when she's in a pinch.
You love taking care of me.
In episode 7, he introduces his friend Rosie, who's another one of Hell's overlords and ruler of Cannibal Town.
Cannibal Town!
Their relationship is a little more business-oriented, but again, look how she greets him.
Oh my stars! Do my eyes deceive me? Alistair? Alistair! Where have you been? These halls really lost some of their sparkle without your lively presence.
Look at how she talks about him.
And old Alistair has never done me wrong before.
This is a genuine friendship. Doing favors for each other is just sugar on the cream. Other acts of interpersonal soft power are less friendly. In fact, it's his preferred method of engaging adversarially with an entity at or above his hard power level. For example, in episode 3, he attends the meeting of Hell's overlords, which is an opportunity for the controlling interests of Hell to discuss their approach to Heaven's new extermination timeline.
Welcome, Hell's sovereign overlords. I've invited you all here because you represent the controlling powers of our city.
The fact that he has a seat at the table is emblematic of how much the other powerful entities regard him. However, the best example of him using soft power to take on someone much more powerful than himself is his exchange with Lucifer Morningstar. In episode 5, Dad Beat Dad, and especially in the song Hell's Greatest Dad, he purposefully leverages his relationship with Charlie to goad Lucifer into helping her by getting her a meeting with Heaven. I've done a full video on this, but in short, Alistair wants the hotel to operate so he can watch sinners try and fail to redeem themselves.
I came here because I love seeing wasteful souls struggle to accomplish something meaningful and fail spectacularly.
But in order for the hotel to operate, Charlie needs a meeting to plead her case to Heaven.
We could go to the top. There's sure to be some angels who will listen.
But Alistair isn't strong enough to get her that meeting, but Lucifer Lucifer is,
he could get me a meeting with heaven.
But he doesn't want to watch her trying to fail and be crushed by them like he was.
I just don't want you to be crushed by them like I was.
So Aleister needs to persuade Lucifer that he should arrange the meeting. So he hits Lucifer where he's weak and makes him think Charlie has chosen to bond with Aleister as a surrogate father figure.
You're like the child that I wish that I had.
What?
I care for you just like a daughter I spawned.
Hold on now.
It's a little funny. You could almost call me Dad.
Which pushes Lucifer to step up as a dad and make the meeting happen.
Okay, I can get you the meeting, but once you're in heaven, I won't be able to go with you. Will you be okay?
I'll be fine.
Through charisma and manipulation, he influences Lucifer to change his mind and take action. The title, Hell's Greatest Dad, isn't in reference to the rivalry between them to be Hell's Greatest Dad, but to Aleister pushing Lucifer to be Hell's Greatest Dad. Interpersonal soft power, just like mass communication soft power, is all about getting into someone's head one way or another, whether through pushing their buttons, leveraging your friendship, or convincing them to take a course of action that most pleases you. Aleister is extremely adept in his use of these tactics. In addition to hard and soft power, Aleister also uses soul-binding contracts, which work by turning soft power into hard power. One can be influenced or persuaded to make a soul-binding contract, which are both forms of soft power.
You think I'm that stupid, making a deal with a demon like you?
Not for your soul, just a simple deal. I do this for you, and you never ask me to engage with this frivolous television technology ever again.
But once that contract is made, it and its maker hold hard power over you.
You may own my soul, but I ain't your fucking pet.
But you are.
This makes contracts an excellent tool for changing your dynamic with someone who's usually more powerful than you. When they're down on their luck or need something specific, you can offer them what they need for what you want.
I know something you don't know.
Huh?
Those big scary angels are not quite as indestructible as they seem.
What are you talking about?
Just that you and your little band of misfits might stand more of a chance than you think.
How? I'll do anything.
Anything?
Aleister makes 3 contracts in season 1, and one more is hinted at, though we don't know the details of that one. The first contract is between Aleister and Vaggie. He offers her a good commercial for the hotel in exchange for her never asking him to deal with television again.
I do this for you, and you never ask me to engage with this frivolous television technology ever again. Or Charlie can come back to absolutely nothing. Your choice.
She gets her commercial, he gets peace and quiet. It introduces the viewer to how these deals work. The second deal is shown in a flashback as Husk describes the circumstances that led to him selling his soul to Aleister. Husk was once an overlord, but his trouble was and is that he's an addict, both to alcohol and gambling.
I got an appetite for gambling.
While he was in a losing streak, Aleister took advantage of this weakness and took ownership of his soul.
So when you're down on your luck, you turn to anything to keep you afloat, even making deals yourself.
This is the only soul we see him take, but it's implied he also owns Nifty's soul.
I like being forced.
The third deal is between Aleister and Charlie. In the second to last episode, he gives her information on how to kill her seemingly immortal enemies in exchange for a favor at a time of his choosing in which she harms no one. But more on that in the next video. These are all the deals we see him make over the course of season 1, though we can assume he has hundreds of deals going at any time. We get some insight into his process through his friend Rosie, who says,
You know, Aleister, I got a primo connect on a guy with about 8 blocks of territory and not enough goons to run it. Prime pickings for a deal to be made, my friend.
The offer shows that when she heard of the situation, she immediately thought of her friend and how he could take advantage of it. To recap, Aleister uses both hard and soft power, and he uses soft power more often than you might think based on his dangerous reputation. But his signature move is to use deals to gain power over those who are more powerful than him, but need something he can provide. But there's one relationship we need to dig into more deeply, and that's Aleister's relationship with series protagonist Charlie Morningstar. So make sure you subscribe to be alerted when that drops.